right, welcome everybody. All right, we're going to get going in just about a minute, so if you can all quiet down, please. Should I give a good light range? You guys ready?
Whenever you are.
All right. All right, well, sorry. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for attending, and welcome to the library. My name is Dr. Richard Togman, CEO of the Thunderbay Public Library. The library holds a sacred place in our community. It is one of the few places where everyone, regardless of age, income, background, ethnicity, orientation, can come together and share with their neighbors. The library exists to share knowledge and understanding and to help build community. Libraries make our neighborhoods strong. Because of this unique place we hold and the special relationship we have with our residents, the library is the perfect place to hold election events. One of our fundamental rights as citizens is the right to vote, and voting necessitates being informed. What better place to learn about what each and every candidate for local office stands for than at your neighborhood public library? As a nonpartisan organization run independently from the city, we are honored to be able to fulfill this essential role, that of helping to educate and inform the public and provide a neutral platform where all candidates can share their vision for our great city. We're so happy you could join us this evening while we check out the Current River, McIntyre, and Red River Ward candidates. To prepare for the event, we reached out and asked the community what questions they wanted the candidates to answer. From this list, we boiled it down to a set of diverse questions that span the range of issues that City Council will likely have to address over the course of their term. To ensure transparency and equity, we provided this list of questions to candidates in advance so they had time to think carefully and craft their responses in a thoughtful and meaningful manner. The question and answer portion of this event is being live streamed and will also appear on our YouTube channel for viewing by those who couldn't attend. Now, before we begin our formal agenda, the Thunder Bay Public Library would like to pay respect and acknowledge our local Indigenous authorities. We would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and stewards of Fort William First Nation within the Robertson Superior Treaty of 1850 and all of the sacred Anishinaabe grandmothers, grandfathers, elders, youth, and members who have come before us and have carefully guarded the land and all that it provides. We also acknowledge the contributions to our community by the Métis people. TBPL is committed to working with and understanding the history that has brought us to this land and acknowledge our responsibilities as treaty partners to provide for access, accessibility, and assistance to anyone wishing to use library services or spaces. Now, the logistics for tonight will go as follows. All candidates have invited to participate, and I'm glad to see both from McIntyre are here. And as I mentioned previously, the questions that will be asked of the candidates came from library patrons and the community at large. The question list was distributed to candidates in advance, so there are no surprises or trick questions. While the candidates know the question list, they don't know which question will be asked of which candidate. Each candidate will get asked a question from the list at random to ensure fairness and a lack of bias. Each candidate will have a maximum of 2 minutes to answer the question. After a 15-second grace period, we'll interrupt the candidates if they continue to talk. So candidates, for your convenience, we have a little light system going up for you. The green light is during your first minute. Once the yellow light goes on, you're in your second and last minute. Once the red light turns on, you're basically out of time, you gotta wrap up. So first off, let me introduce the candidates. From left to right, we have Albert Aiello and Brent Boyko. It takes a lot of courage to run for council, and I congratulate you for stepping forward to share your vision of the community with us tonight. Now, before we jump into the Q&A, I want to give each candidate 60 seconds to introduce themselves and to highlight aspects of your platform and goals that you want to share should you be elected. So, first off, I'll invite Albert to give a 60-second introduction about your platform before we begin the Q&A.
All right, is this on? Yep, okay. Well, my name is Albert Aiello, and I'm the current McIntyre Ward Councillor, and it's been an honor to serve for the last 4 years. I bring to the table over 34 years of experience working in community development, particularly as my role in as the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Thunder Bay. I've been able to, the last 4 years, have a proven track record of working, forming partnerships, have a proven track record of getting things done within the community, and have a proven track record of being fiscally responsible. Working for a nonprofit organizations, you quickly learn how to stretch every dollar possible. my main focus, if re-elected, will be growth. Everything revolves around growth in the city of Thunder Bay. Growth will have a reflection on taxes, and without growth, which we haven't had any in the last 4 years, we simply can't sustain what's going on. In the Treasurer's report received for 2022, basically states in there that we cannot continue the present trend. We have to have growth.
All right. Thank you, Albert.
Sorry.
All right. Brent, your 60 seconds to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Richard. My name is Brent Boyko, 57 years old. I've been working for 41 years. I'm a Lakehead grad. Father was born on Grenville Avenue in Current River. Sorry, my father was born in Grenville Avenue. How's that? Thank you. So my premise, my reason for running, first of all, Albert would have been acclaimed had I not put my name in, and I have been a passionate contributor to my community since I was 16 years old. I spent a year in Japan. Thank you to Rotary. That's really where I got my sense of community spirit, outreach, working with my neighbors. I've been the president of Volunteer Thunder Bay, sat on hospital boards, chemical engineer with an MBA, run paper mills, cement plants, power plants. So I know a few things about running a business, both from a small business, from a large business. I believe in good governance. Good governance is key, particularly at the council level. That is our job. We are there to maintain good governance. And I have 5 kids. There's only one in Thunder Bay. I want to make sure that there's a place to live and grow for my grandkids. That's why I'm running.
Great. Thank you, Brent. All right, so we're moving into the question and answer portion of the event. So every candidate will get 1 question in turn for 3 rounds in total, and you'll be asked questions from the list, and remember your time limits. So, you can get a little help here. All right, so we'll begin with question 9. So, Albert.
Yep.
Question 9. The previous council has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on consultants and preliminary work on a proposed police headquarters and an indoor sports facility that were never built. Would you prioritize or deprioritize these large capital projects, or are there other priorities you believe council should address first?
Okay, well, thank you for the question. First and foremost, everyone should take time to read the Municipal Act. It's what really governs city councils. It's not as if city council can go there and kind of do whatever they want. We are guided by a Municipal Act. And one of the things that the Municipal Act states is that the municipality is responsible for police and their facilities. So there is no choice here. We have to do something in regards to policing. We may have a say in what it may look like, and possibly how much it will cost, but that is a priority. Bar none, we need to do something in regards to a police station. It was forthcoming, again, way back. I know when Chief Levesque was in, he shared some documents with me about the planning process back then. So this is not something that just came out of nowhere. It is a responsibility of the municipality to pay for a police station. There are no federal funds or provincial funds available for the police station. It falls on the city taxpayer. So please understand that. It's a big decision, and we take that very, very seriously. In regards to the indoor turf facility, I am in favor of an indoor turf facility. I have been. I was one of the 2 that changed my vote right at the end, and it was for a number of reasons. Number 1, the fact that the price tag was over budget and we hadn't even put a shovel in the ground. The fact that we had COVID, and to this day I'm very confident in my decision to vote against the tender, because I still believe to this day that facility would still not have been built. I believe it's important that we have something for indoor enthusiasts, because we subsidize, again, this is a quality of life issue. We should subsidize, or we should build something, but again, less of a Taj Mahal and something that's more affordable to the taxpayer, to benefit the entire community and not just the so-called soccer community. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Albert. All right, Brent, question 10. There's a concern in the community that property taxes are high and increasing every year. However, surveys show that citizens and businesses are willing to pay current tax rates if they feel like they're getting good value for their tax dollar. What is your plan to ensure that Thunder Bay gets good return on investment on its tax dollars?
Thanks, Richard. That is the reason, one of my main mandates is to make sure that we're getting back to basics. We're providing value to our taxpayers. In my neighborhood walks, I talk to my neighbors about the top things that the city can do better for them. I have a neighbor that's been waiting 3 years, I believe, to have a tree trimmed on his boulevard, and it's encroaching on his house right now. He's made several calls. He's talked to his counselor. No resolve. That's a basic. We live in a community. We want good roads. We want sewer. We want water. We want a community lifestyle. We love our libraries and our community auditorium. But if a tree falls on my house, and I've been saying, you know what, that tree is going to fall on my house, really it should be dealt with. I lived in a community in southern Ontario. The snowplow came by, it was a new build, tore up my lawn. They apologized profusely. The next spring they were there with sod, topsoil, filled it all back in. How are we doing? Came back later. Any other concerns? How can we address that? So yes, none of my neighbors want to pay more tax dollars, but we want to make sure we're getting value for our tax dollars.
All right, thank you. All right. Second round of questions. Albert, question 11. Business groups have complained that red tape and bureaucracy are a barrier to business. What is your plan to ensure that the city adopts a culture of customer service in its dealings with the public?
Thank you for the question. If you view my website, you'll see letters of support for the work I've done. Again, it's about removing red tape. I have a letter of support from Chris at Home Hardware, the owner. I assisted them in the expansion, setting up all the meetings with city planners to ensure that it was seamless. When their head office came, again, they were very impressed with the fact that everything was done. And there was no changes made to the plan once it was approved. So it's all about making those connections. Also, Splish Splash Water Pad, that is a business that I helped bring to the City of Thunder Bay. I helped them get funding for it. It's been a wonderful addition to the City of Thunder Bay and the kids. And Boulevard Lake. Boulevard Lake is a new thriving little place just back in the heyday when everybody used to go to Boulevard. It's starting to be like that now with the addition of, again, a water park and a great accessible park as well. And then even just simply with the Thunder Bay North Stars, got a letter of support from them. I've helped them in their new lease agreement, which kept them here in the City of Thunder Bay. It's all about forming relationships, getting rid of the red tape. And that's a role a council can play. I set up all these meetings. I set them to funders. Listen, you can get access funds here, and they did. And the city is a much better place for it. And again, there's further expansions. We have, it's a $300 fee that you pay now when you go to planning, and that fee is 100% refundable. I'm sorry, 100% goes towards your permit if you proceed with your project. But that $300 brings everybody to the table to reduce the red tape. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. Brent, question 12. Many parents struggle to secure spots in childcare facilities, which sometimes prevents a parent from returning to the workforce. Would you endorse an increase in the city's childcare programs, and how would you deal with the cost of raising a child for Thunder Bay's parents?
Good question, Richard. 5 children collectively, 3 grandchildren, so I know what it's like to have 2 working parents raise children. It's a challenge. I think that one of the mixed blessings of COVID is the hybrid workplace and the amount of folks now that are working from home. But there still is a need for childcare, having the ability to have both partners out working in the community. The city has a role to play there. Certainly there are opportunities for underemployed folks to get out there and work in the ECE and childcare sector. It's a thankless job, as is a PSW. A lot of these roles go unfilled. There are a lot of widows in Ukraine. I certainly would be more than willing to come to work in Thunder Bay and work in ECE, PSW, those type of roles. I think we should be looking on a broader scope outside of our community, because we can't get people to work basic jobs, but there are people in different areas of the world would love to come to Thunder Bay and help with that solutioning. That's what I would propose.
All right. Thank you, Brent. All right. Quickly, we've moved on to the last third round of questions. So for Albert, question 13. Thunder Bay is projected to have a labor shortage in the near future, and many businesses complain about getting the skilled labor they need to grow. What is your plan to attract the labor force we need to Thunder Bay?
Well, first and foremost, Thunder Bay is actively involved in the immigration pilot project. We are so successful, in fact, that we are the success story of the province. We've had more participants go through that program, which brings in new immigrants into ready, set jobs. We've been very successful, and we need to continue that. And hand in hand with that is developing partnerships to the college and university to develop these skilled workers. So, for example, there is a mining boom kind of going on in Geraldton and Marathon and those areas, but we need to have the programs established at the college and university level that will have a ready-made workforce that could step into these positions. The other thing about, which is very important, again, we talk about growth, and in order to grow, people need affordable housing. And again, one of my stances, my biggest stance is growth. We need to have more serviceable lots in the city of Thunder Bay. There's no serviceable lots in the north side of Thunder Bay. Everything is down south. Okay, this is a real problem. We are not ready for growth. The mining strategy came up. We're about 800, 900 homes short, and we haven't addressed that. As being on council, I will push that issue forward. We need homes and affordable housing to even keep our kids here. You can't. A starter home now is over $200,000. Very hard for your children to stay in Thunder Bay. We have to address that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The last question for the McIntyre candidates, question 14. Thunder Bay paid for a program and service review, which was conducted by outside consultants in 2020. Can you describe two elements of the review that you endorse and articulate why it's important for the future of Thunder Bay?
Thanks, Richard. I've got the review in front of me here, and I think it's imperative that any business, and Thunder Bay City is a business, needs to have a periodic review of the value and the value for dollars. I remember doing a study, activity-based costing. I was 3 years out of university, and a company similar to Grant Thornton came in and said, Mr. Boyko, what do you do to add value to your organization as a technical manager in a mill in Fort Francis? They didn't like my solution because I was spending more time on personal growth and development than my manager was. And they said, you're working above your pay grade. And I said, well, that's how I'm wired. I'm always looking for the next step. So I believe in thorough outside review of the city. I don't believe on spending $234,000 and then putting a study on the shelf and not acting on it. So we pay good money for these reviews. We need to take a good hard look at the outcomes, and sometimes there's difficult decisions to be made based on these reviews. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. I'm going to make that omelet.
All right, thank you, Brent. All right, well, that's our 3 rounds of questions for the McIntyre candidates. So I want to thank you both for attending.
Thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and we'll take a short 5-minute break, and then we'll move into the Red River Ward candidates.